To order, please rise for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the city recorder please call roll?
Mayor Jacola.
Present.
Council President Steinhebel. Here. Councilor Dykstra.
Here.
Councilor Mann.
Here.
Councilor Salvage.
Here.
Councilor Workman.
Here.
Councilor Olfers.
Here.
Thank you. We'll go into the first consent calendar. The following items are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussions on these items unless the councilor so requests. In that case, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. Agenda, Lebanon City Council Agenda, June 12, 2024. Agreements and contracts, Northwest Code Professionals LLC, Lebanon Fire District contract. Appointments to the Budget Committee, Library Advisory Committee, Parks, Trees, Trails Advisory Committee, and the Planning Commission. Board minutes, Planning Commission, April 17th, 2024. Council meetings, May 8th, 2024, executive session and regular meeting. Irrevocable petition for public improvements on 985 West Rose Street, Community Development Block Grant Resolution number 2024-18. A resolution to notify all citizens of discrimination is prohibited by Title 8 of the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1988. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. First up tonight for presentations recognition, Build Lebanon Trails funding request.
The red light's on, so that means it's working. Hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to be here. It's always a pleasure to be in front of the mayor and city council and talk about trails. And just a little side note, I just got back from Sun River and we rode 30 miles on trails all within their community. And trails are just a wonderful part of any community. So I've been here, this is my third time to talk to you about our request for funding from the transient room tax. Submitted a letter that Ron had shared with me some criteria that Trey had developed for your consideration, and I'm hoping that letter that I sent to you pretty well covered those requirements. And as you know, we're seeking funding for the Georgia Pacific Mill Race Trail, and we still we're very anxious. We'd love to build that thing, raise enough funds this year yet and build it this year. That's the goal, and you know how time flies. So I'm here to entertain any questions you might have for me.
I think with the 3 visits that they probably asked all the questions they have. Yeah, so does that conclude your comments?
Yeah.
All righty. I
Right,
appreciate it. Thank you so much. Public comments. Do we have any tonight? No one turned in cards? Okay. Then we'll move forward into the first public hearing, ordinance bill number 2024-05. Public hearing is now open at 6:04. And city attorney?
Tonight's hearing will be pursuant to the quasi-judicial procedures set out under ORS 197.797. At the start of each hearing, council members will be asked to disclose any ex-parte communications, conflict of interest, or bias. The applicable substantive criteria for this hearing will be addressed in the staff report to council. Testimony may be in oral or written form, but must be directed towards the criteria outlined in the staff report, the comprehensive plan, of the city's land use regulations. Any issues raised must be accompanied by statements and evidence sufficient to enough to allow this council and party members an opportunity to respond. Please note that failure to raise an issue, including a constitutional issue, by the close of the hearing will prevent any appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals.
Thank you. The ordinance bill 2024-05, ordinance number 3021, a bill for a ordinance annexation or annexing and zoning property following consent file with the city council by landowner in said area pursuant to ORS 222.120 and ORS 222.170 filed A 21-01, Josh Mitchell. Do any counselors wish to declare ex parte contact, conflict, or bias?
Nope.
Is there anybody in the audience that objects to the notice that was sent in this case or to the jurisdiction of this body to hear and consider this case? Already did. Yeah. Will the Community Development Director present staff report?
Good evening. Before you tonight is the proposed annexation of a parcel that is 0.92 acres located on the south side of Keys Street, just east of Skulls Hill Road. The property address is 810 Keys Street. The property is located in the city's urban growth boundary. It is contiguous to the city's city limits on the southern and eastern boundary lines of the property. And so therefore it is contiguous and eligible for annexation. In the city's comprehensive plan, it is designated as residential mixed density, and upon annexation, it would be zoned residential mixed density. The applicant has accepted the initial zoning, and is therefore eligible for annexation. At the May 15th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission reviewed the application and decision criteria found in the Lebanon Development Code and the comprehensive plan, and determined that the application met all the decision criteria. That decision criteria was also included within the City Council's agenda packet for review. And so the recommended action tonight is for the City Council to approve annexation and to designate the corresponding zoning as residential mixed density. That concludes my reports. I'm available to answer any questions.
Council have any questions of staff?
I do not.
No? At this time, ask the applicant testimony if present. No? Does the council, well, no, of course not. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this? Opposed? Anybody who wants to speak in opposition? If that's no's, then the public hearing is hereby closed at 6:08. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff at this time. Is there any discussion?
So clicks all the boxes.
Okay. Will the city attorney please read the title of the ordinance?
Bill for an ordinance annexing and zoning property following consent filed with city council by landowners in said area pursuant to ORS 222.120 and ORS 222.170. Josh Mitchell, ordinance bill number 2024-05, ordinance number 3021.
Is there a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Motion been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next public hearing is resolution number 2024-10, a resolution of the City of Lebanon referring to voters a measure proposing and a prohibiting prohibition, thank you, on civil, I never can, I never can say that
Say
word.
magic number.
Related business and adopting a ballot title and extorting statement. The public hearing is now open at 6:09. Trey?
Oh, that's fine.
was out of my space.
You've all read it. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Unless there's any questions or suggestions or timelines that people want to know about.
I just want to say
Staff
thank you.
report.
Thank you for the improvements, and I appreciate it, and I have no further comments on it.
I want to deflect to our city clerk who made those adjustments and did it very well.
Thank you.
Is there any questions of staff?
No,
There-
thanks for cleaning up. It makes more sense now, I think.
Is there anybody who would like to speak regarding this matter? Then the public hearing is hereby closed at 6:10. And all further discussion will be limited to council and staff. Is there any discussion needs to be done? Okay. Will the city attorney please read the title of the resolution?
Resolution number 2024-10, a resolution of the City of Lebanon referring to the voters a measure proposing a prohibition on psilocybin-related businesses and adopting a ballot title and explanatory statement.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the next public hearing, Resolution 2024-12, a resolution certifying the eligibility and declaring the City of Lebanon election to receive state revenues. Public hearing is now open at 6:11. Finance Director, please present your staff report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, city councilors. Each year, ORS 221.760 and ORS 221.770 require that we, one, acknowledge that we provide certain services, and two, that we elect to receive state revenues, state shared revenues for the coming fiscal year. I have included in your packet the state shared revenue report from the League of Oregon Cities. A couple of highlights I want to make there. Over time, they are projecting that the Highway Trust Fund revenues will start to level off and or decline as the state moves towards kind of more fuel-efficient vehicles and EV adoption. So something to keep in mind over the long term. Liquor revenues are up for the coming fiscal year. There is a projection that the marijuana tax revenues that we receive from the state, not our local number, but the state revenue, will fall slightly in the coming fiscal year, as well as cigarette tax revenue, which has been steadily declining over the last decade. Beyond that, this is a kind of a standard item that is, like I said, done each year. The state is using a population for the City of Lebanon of 20,329, which you can find in your packet on page 102, if you want to see where others kind of land. But specifically what we're looking at in this resolution is that we need to certify that we provide one of seven or four of seven different services listed in the resolution. For us specifically, we highlight that we provide 6 of the following municipal services, including police services, water utility services, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, street construction, maintenance and lighting, and planning, zoning, and subdivision control. The state revenues are in the general fund for the most part, except for the highway tax funds, which do go into our streets fund. Those monies are used for general purposes. We don't have them allocated to a specific line, but they are used to augment the general fund and the services we provide. So with that, if there's any future additional questions, I can answer them. Otherwise, we'll go from there.
I don't know. Why would somebody not do this? Does it free you from some responsibility if you say, no, I don't want the state money so I can do what I want? Why would you not do this?
Certainly I think that some may argue that, it is state funding coming your way. And so some people might feel like then there could be strings attached to that.
Of course.
Coming from the state, right? But otherwise, beyond that, there isn't really a reason that I can think of or that I've run into that one wouldn't want to accept these services. I think it just comes down to, whether you want to be connected to the state in that manner.
I got you. I couldn't either. That's why I had to ask.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brandon. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this matter? Then the public hearing is hereby closed at 6:14. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff at this time. Is there any discussion? No? Okay. City Attorney, please read the title of the resolution.
Resolution number 2024-12, a resolution certifying its eligibility and declaring the City of Lebanon's election to receive state revenues.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next one, public hearing resolution number 2024-13, resolution certifying that city complies with section ORS 475C related to marijuana sales inside the city limits. Public hearing is now open at 6:15. Again, Brandon.
Another one of several public hearings and resolutions that I bring before you this evening. ORS 475C related to marijuana sales inside city limits does require that we certify that we allow marijuana sales within city limits to receive the state revenue marijuana tax funding. So that is all that is before you. At this time, we do allow sales within city limits. There is a 3% tax, local tax on the sale of that marijuana. We receive that tax directly here into the city it goes out to the Department of Revenue and then comes back to us. And then we get a small, probably just under $30,000 contribution from the state for kind of the statewide marijuana sales. So this certifies that we allow that and that we are good to receive the additional state revenue.
All righty. Thank you. Is there any questions of staff?
Just because I like to ask questions. Is there anything that limits how many stores there can be other than the market?
No, just there are some restrictions as to where those stores can be placed. So certainly if you can't find a location, then that could be your limitation, but otherwise, no, there's no
Okay.
current limitations.
Yes, we can have the 10 we have for some reason.
Supply and
Become the
demand.
super center around here.
Yeah.
Any other questions of staff? Is there anybody that would like to speak regarding this matter? Then the public hearing is hereby closed at 6:17. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff at this time. Is there a discussion to be had? Will the city attorney please read the title of the resolution?
Yeah. Box calling item number 12 is blocking my resolution number. It's 2024-13. A resolution certifying the city complies with sections of ORS 475C related to marijuana sales inside city limits.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the next public hearing, Resolution 2024-14. Resolution adopting the City of Lebanon's budget and making appropriations for fiscal year 2024 to 2025. Resolution number 2024-15, a resolution leveling taxes on the City of Lebanon's budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. The public hearing is now open at 6:18. Again, Finance Director.
ORS 294 outlines the budget process for all counties and cities and special districts within the state of Oregon. Specifically for the city of Lebanon, the budget committee met 3 times in April to discuss the city's proposed budget put forth by the budget officer. You will find that budget on page 114 of your packet. Overall, total requirements for the coming fiscal year were approved at $87,398,052, which includes a nearly $20.3 million ending balance. I highlight that specifically because in the resolution, you'll notice it's only 66.7 million that you are adopting, and that is because we don't adopt the ending fund balances. They're just unappropriated and remain in the funds. But that is the budget that was approved by the budget committee on April 30th that they then forwarded for your review. A couple of items that I do want to touch on quickly related to some adjustments we are requesting that the council make at this time. First, the streets budget. So the budget that was originally presented to the budget committee was the requested budget instead of the proposed budget. So a software issue on our end. What we are asking is that the council make the changes in the streets fund as follows. So for the streets department itself, we are looking for an adjustment of $1,417 related to personnel expenses. In engineering, an extra $48 in personnel expenses. $75,000 in additional capital projects, and transfers out of $3,033. That's the difference between what was initially requested and some of the changes that were made before we locked in a proposed. The Equipment Reserve and Acquisition Fund, originally we had asked that the Budget Committee add $110,000 to transfers out to repay an interfund loan planned for this current fiscal year. Based on council action and timing, we don't believe we're going to need that money in the transfer outline next year. We're actually just going to purchase it straight in the 2025 fiscal year. This is related to the property that the council approved purchasing for the Public Works yard. So what we are requesting as far as a council revision is that we move that money to into a Public Works line instead of a transfer outline. And then this is just information's sake, and does not impact the 25 budget, but for informational purposes, we did have minor errors in the fiscal year 2022 expenditures in our utility funds. We've corrected those for the adopted budget once that comes out, and again, has no bearing on what the overall budget was. We were just missing a few expenditures in those specific funds. So at this point, I will defer to the council, and I will answer any questions if you have them.
Because they're captured here in this document, you don't need amendments for each of those, do you?
I do not.
Like
The
from-
resolution itself has the
Okay.
changes that we are looking for.
I just wanted to clarify.
Correct.
Any other questions?
What's that $48 all about, Ron?
No other questions? Thank you, Brandon. Is there anybody who would like to speak regarding this matter? Then public hearing is hereby closed at 6:22. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff this time. Any discussion? It's a lot of these subjects, this is more for just public knowledge. A lot of these public hearings we've discussed multiple times, so there's not a lot of questions at this point. So if people out there feel that we're running through these, it's because we've talked about them multiple times.
And
So-
read through 183 pages. of
Yes.
packet.
And we receive a packet before every meeting. This one was 183 pages long. So the research has been done and a lot of the discussions have been made. So will the city attorney please read the title of the resolution?
Resolution number 2024-14, a resolution adopting the City of Lebanon's budget, making appropriations for fiscal year 2024-25.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to public hearing resolution 2024-19, resolution amending fees and charges for city services and repealing Exhibit A fee schedule of resolution 2022-18. Public hearing is now open at 6:23. Again, Finance Director.
If I could take us backwards for just a second, there's a second resolution associated with the last agenda item. It's 2024 dash something. It's blanked out with item
Oh,
number 13.
dash 15.
Yeah, so we need that one to be included as well
So
for,
we
council
probably should step back and,
yeah, we need to levy the taxes or we'll
Yes.
have a serious problem.
so let's step back and do it this way. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-14? Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve 2024-14. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Is there a motion to approve 2024-15 resolution?
Move to
You want
approve.
me to
Wait,
read
he
it?
has to read the.
Yeah, he should
Read it.
read.
Thank you.
Resolution levying taxes for the City of Lebanon's budget for fiscal year 24-25, resolution number 2024-14.
15.
15.
15.
15.
15.
15.
Yes, move for approval.
Second.
A motion's been made to approve for resolution 2024-15. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now,
Fees.
let's I don't even know. Anyhow, now we get back to the fees. So Brandon, please.
Okay, I apologize and thank you, council. So before you is an amended fee schedule. Typically, in the past, we have done the fee schedule in August with a September adoption. We decided this year to go for a fiscal year adoption so that we can kind of roll out fees that coincide with our annual fiscal years. It makes a little bit more sense. It is easier for folks to track. So with that said, the following fees were updated in this fee schedule for the coming fiscal year. Excuse me. In engineering, a new residential site plan review has moved from $50 to $75. A private street inspection, this is a new fee for fiscal year 2025 and will start at $85. A reinspect fee, also new for fiscal year 2025 and starting at $85. A street moratorium surcharge fee, again, new for fiscal year 25 at $250 a square foot. And lastly, a utility boring fee at $1 per linear foot. Those are the changes in the engineering section of the fee schedule. In finance, we have updated the printing costs for the audit and budget reports. The non-sufficient funds fee is increased from $30 to $50 to cover the cost of an NSF from the bank, from our vendor that we bank with, and the staff time associated with reconciling and updating accounts. And a stop payment and reissue check fee has increased from $15 to $30, again, to coincide with the bank charge of $16 per stop order and the associated staff time with reissuing a check. For the municipal court, the only revision was that we removed the expungement filing fee. This was a former state charge that is no longer valid. And lastly, the police department has updated some of their fees. We did eliminate 2 fees, the dog permit and additional pages for ordinances. And then we restructured how ordinances are printed for folks at the police department. And there's a new per page fee for ordinance that covers the cost of printing them for a customer in the office. I can answer any questions that the council might have.
Just my own curiosity, what's a street moratorium surcharge fee?
I was going to ask that as well.
I might defer to Ron or Kelly on this one. Street moratorium surcharge, what is
So the
that?
street moratorium surcharge is to try and dissuade people from cutting our new streets. So what we find, it happened when we paved Stoltz Hill Road, good example. The gas company came in and decided that right after we got all done with that to cut in a new service, right? I know a lot of times that can't be helped, but the more we cut the streets, the worse they become. So we do that for 5 years and, you know, try and dissuade people from doing that if we can. If they have to, they have to. We understand that. And at times we've had to, but if we can drop some of that back, then that's the goal of that.
So what? Oh, 250 a square foot. So that's square foot of the cutting area.
Yeah, so basically, if you cut a trench patch and it's 5 by 5, that's, you know, it's 25 square feet. So it is expensive. It's meant to dissuade that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wondered why we have a brand new street in and then you see utility companies within a year, it seems like every time they're going to be there.
Sometimes
Can't
it's
help
less,
but
and
draws
and
it
we
when
give
it's
them
a
a
new
lot of
street.
opportunity to get lines replaced and done, and sometimes they can't help it, right? But we would have the flexibility in an emergency or some emergency situation to work through some of those details. This is meant for I'll just say it, for people that haven't planned, and we go through and spend a lot of money on paving a street, and then 6 months later, they're out there cutting it, and it never is the same after that. So
Yeah.
That was the intention of it. Jason and I kind of worked together on that to come up with a fee for that.
I think it's a good idea then. I never thought of that.
I was also going to ask about the reinspect fee. What is that referring to?
So a lot of times we'll go out, and again, this is for, let's call it frequent violators, right? When you go out and you do an inspection, our inspection fees are pretty light anyway, but a lot of times we'll have people that
aren't ready, and you'll say, hey, we need to do this, this, and this, and then we'll go out again, and they're still not ready, and then we'll go out again and again, and that's meant to dissuade some of that as well. Just, we find that there's certain, I'll call it individuals, contractors, where we're spending an enormous amount of time going back and continually relooking at things and relooking at things after we've
Yeah.
given a pretty clear direction, and it's meant to capture some of that cost.
You're trying to do as little as possible and get you to,
Yes.
I got you. Give us a guide to how to get past you.
Not to punish, but just to cover our costs, really, is what it boils down to.
Any other questions? Is there anybody who would like to speak regarding this matter? Please come forward so we can get it on record.
My name is Sean Eaton. I'm a re-inspection fee order. I warned them one time.
Can you get close to the microphone, please?
Or probably needs to be turned on.
So, re-inspection fee, it does work. People who you continuously say 3 or 4 times, but as soon as you give them the investigation fee, they cut it off right there. They don't do it anymore. The same thing with the building department. Will be guaranteed it works. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay, public hearing is hereby closed at 6:31. All further discussion will be limited to council and staff at this time. Will the city, is there any discussion? I'm sorry. City Attorney, please read the title of the resolution.
Resolution number 2024-19, a resolution amending fees and charges for city services and repealing Exhibit A fee schedule of resolution number 2022-18.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're going to take a step back just for a moment, reopen Resolution 2024-14 and 20, make sure I wrote these down right.
2024-15.
Yeah. 2024-14 and 15 for public comment. Is there any public comment on either one of those resolutions? If there's no public comment on either one of those resolutions, I will hereby close that at 6:32. Okay. We will temporarily adjourn the city council and convene the Urban Renewal Agency Committee. Public hearing for resolution 2024-16. Public hearing is now open at 6:33. And Brandon.
I'm back again. Again, ORS 294 dictates how this process goes. So the Lebanon Urban Renewal Agency Budget Committee met in April. Before you is the, in the resolution is the approved budget by that group, by the Budget Committee. No changes are being requested at this time. So we are asking the council to adopt what the Budget Committee approved for the Urban Renewal Agency budget. That is in Resolution 2024-16. Additionally, in Resolution 2024-17, we are asking for the board to authorize the taxes. So for each of those, in Section 1, we're discussing the Northwest Lebanon Urban Renewal District. We are under levying again those taxes. However, as a reminder, the $69,853,249 of assessed value is higher than what we have levied the last couple of years because we are trying to accumulate some additional funds to then pay off the debt faster for the Northwest Urban Renewal District. And try to get that district to a point where we can close it early instead of waiting until 2032. So that assessed value is higher. For the rest of the urban renewal districts, the North Gateway Urban Renewal District, Cheetah Lake, Downtown, and Millrace Urban Renewal Districts, we are asking for 100% of the authorized tax levy for those districts. And I can answer any questions you may have.
Is there any questions of staff? We're going to try not to make the same mistake because there's two here too. So what we'll do is we'll run through the first one, and then we'll go back and do the second one. So, if there's anybody who would like to speak on the resolution 2024-16. No? Is there anybody who would like to speak, or did you brief on the 2024-17?
Yes,
Okay.
I touched both.
Sorry, I was looking at my papers while you were talking.
Yes.
Is there anybody who would like to speak on resolution 2024-17? Okay. Then the public hearing is hereby closed at 6:36. All further discussion be limited to Urban Renewal Agency Committee and staff at this time. Is there any discussion? Will the city attorney please read the title of the first resolution?
Resolution number 2024-16, a resolution adopting the Lebanon Urban Renewal Agency's budget and making appropriations for fiscal year 24-25.
Is there a motion on that resolution?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution 2024-16 has passed.
Ad hominem comment?
Will the city attorney,
Wanted to comment on that last resolution.
Is that what it was? Okay.
will the city attorney please read the title of resolution 2024-17?
Resolution number 2024-17, a resolution levying taxes for the Lebanon Urban Renewal Agency's budget for fiscal year 2024-25.
Is there a motion on resolution 2024-17?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. We'll reconvene, we'll adjourn the Urban Renewal District
Mr. Mayor.
and reconvene the regular session.
Not yet. We still need to be the Lebanon Urban Renewal Agency to discuss the
then never
budget
mind.
adjustment.
4-20.
Oh,
We've got
right
lots, I
there, I see it.
apologize.
Okay, my fault. Resolution 2024, regular session, resolution authorizing a transfer appropriations for Lebanon Renewal Agency 2023-2024 budget.
I promise we're almost done.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so what is before you is a request to transfer some existing budget authority from our contingency line to contract services in the Millrace Urban Renewal District. Each year, there's an an economic development agreement in place that dictates that the city contributes 80% of the tax revenue for that area back to the developer. And over time, it drops then from 80 to 75%. For the current fiscal year, 2023-24, we saw additional assessed value than above what we had anticipated, meaning that additional properties are coming online and valuations are coming in potentially higher. So what we are requesting is that we zero out the contingency and move that to contract services just to cover our bases. Because the cost did come in at $122,261, which is just north of the $100,000 that we had budgeted there.
Is there any questions of staff? No questions. Is there a motion?
I move.
Did we do comments?
Uh-oh.
No, it's under regular session. That's why I was confused.
Hearing, right?
It's not a public hearing.
Oh,
No,
it's not a public hearing, all right. Resolution number 2024-20, a resolution authorizing a transfer of appropriations for the Lebanon Urban Renewal Agency 23-24 budget.
Move for approval.
Second.
motion been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now we can adjourn the Urban Renewal Agency Committee and reconvene the Lebanon City Council. Next item on the regular session agenda is Resolution 2024-21, resolution authorizing a transfer of appropriations for the City of Lebanon 2023-2024 budget. Brandon.
I know you're excited that this is the last item I have on the agenda. So before you is a request, again, similar to the previous resolution, to amend our budget in some of our specific funds. So what we have before you is a request to adjust the finance budget in the general fund, specifically municipal court, and an adjustment for the community development organization within the water and wastewater funds. So on the municipal court side, additional expenditures related to an increase in the public defender's contract, as well as additional appeals this year for the municipal court has kind of pushed us to a point where we will exceed that budget authorization overall for municipal court. So I have requested $6,500 be transferred from our operating capital contingency line and go $5,000 to contract services and $1,500 to outside attorney fees to help cover those unanticipated expenditures. For development services in the water and wastewater funds, additional HRA costs because of employee turnover has bumped that budget beyond what it can sustain. So in each of those, I'm requesting to move $1,700 from another line item within the fund, specifically on the water side from the public works budget up to the development services budget of $1,700. And in the wastewater fund, specifically from the collections budget or public works to the HRA line in development services. And that'll set us off nicely for the rest of the fiscal year.
Is there any questions? Is there a motion?
He needs to read first.
Go ahead.
Resolution number 2024-21, a resolution authorizing a transfer of appropriations for the city of Lebanon to 23-24 budget.
My apologies.
Yeah, I haven't made any mistakes tonight.
What, the baseball game over there?
Is there a motion, resolution 2024-21?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to Build Lebanon Trails request for Transit Lodge fund or tax funds. Ron?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Rod and BLT, for entertaining us for 3 different sessions. I apologize for that, but unfortunately, we're working through some of that, so I do appreciate your ability to do that. Again, in my staff report on the 10th of April, Build Lebanon Trails came before this body and during public comment period to request $25,000 of transient lodging tax funds. Staff conveyed to council that we should probably look at ORS, make sure that we're spending that money appropriately, and council requested that a staff report be brought back. The city attorney has given us some information as to what ORS 320.350 says. You can see, I won't read it, all of it, but the biggest one is probably under 320.309 means other improved real property that has a useful lifespan of more than 10 years and substantial purpose of supporting tourism or accommodating tourist activities. So the results are somewhat vague, and the Attorney General basically says it's up to the governing body to decide whether this is an appropriate use of tourism or transient tourism dollars. So with that, we went through, you can see the letter that was submitted by Build Lebanon Trails. They're requesting $23,500 as they did get a grant from the Lebanon Tourism Committee of $1,500. So with that, council with city staff and attorney input needs to determine first, is this a valid request to use tourism funds? And if that is the case, where we agree that that is the case, that it can be used for that, I've listed 3 options that you could choose from. You can award the $23,500 that's been requested. You could award a smaller amount to be determined by you, or you could award no funds. With that, I guess the first question is does everybody feel that this meets the requirements and meets the definition of tourism?
I do. That bolded part, I think it'd be pretty hard to not use that as evidence that it's eligible.
Yeah, I appreciate the info and the testimony they gave in the letter. I think we can easily justify this as tourism related.
Do we need to have a motion on
We
that?
do need to have a motion as to what you would like to do out of the three there.
No, I was talking about that
Oh, I'm
initial
sorry.
question.
No, it
Okay.
could all be,
Just have one
They
motion.
can all be
Okay.
wrapped
it can all
together,
be
can't
wrapped
it?
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I move to award the requested $23,500 to BLT for the construction costs related to the Georgia Pacific Milk Trail.
Second.
Motion's been made to approve for 23,500 to BLT it's been, motion's been made to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Was there still discussion? Because you can have discussion after the motion is made, and I'm not sure that everybody had a chance to say anything that they wanted to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were some faces that didn't look too pleased with that. If they want to
Okay,
say something.
then we'll step back
Didn't
again.
erase through
It's
it.
all right, you can, I mean,
Didn't-
you can
didn't
have
mill race
discussion
through
after the
that.
motion. Okay.
I just
Mo-
wanna-
Motion's been made. There's concerns on faces.
I
so.
mean, we've already passed it, it's gone through, but we do have I know Jason Williams and what he said about, and actually Ron, both of what you've said about trails in the past and, you know, the trails are great and I use them as BLT knows. But we do have to maintain these once they're built and, that was my only hesitation. However, I do think this is a good use of the funds, but I just want to make sure that we're continuing to be cognizant of that as we move
point.
forward. So that's it.
No, we already passed it. Let's go.
Moving on to Gills Landing Trail Award, Ron.
Okay, last, we opened bids for the Gills Landing Trail, which is basically a trail across the parking lot that will connect call it the Grant Street Park Trail and the Old Mill Trail. We had, looks like 6 bids. We had some, Trey and I, we actually were going to reject the low bid at first. Actually, I was going to reject the low bid at first, talked to Trey, and we went back through a couple of things, and with his opinion, we can accept the low bid. It was basically some math errors, which we've gotten taken care of. Santiam Canyon Excavating was the low bid, and their bid is approximately 20.5% lower, not higher, than the engineer's estimate. With that, I'm willing to answer any questions that you may have. Also should be noted that this project is being fully funded by Build Lebanon Trails. Question?
Can you elaborate on the error? I guess I didn't understand that, why it was
So-
almost originally rejected.
So there was a discrepancy, not a discrepancy. There was an error made in the bid that he submitted. Basically, submitted a lump sum price for a unit price. And that lump sum price, had we taken that lump sum price and extended it out like you should have, you would have put him at 400 and some odd thousand dollars. So you
Simple
can
calculation.
clearly see what happened. And that's where we went back. I basically pinned it on our city attorney and said, here, you figure this out.
So basically, it was just that he, instead of putting a unit price in, he just took a total price and put it in both columns.
I got you.
He didn't math either.
He
Dave.
did math very well. I can relate to that.
And, you know, even though the contracting laws require, you know, fairly strict compliance with the requirements, there are a number of examples and also statutes that provide for these types of clerical errors or math errors or errors on the, obvious on the face of the offer, so.
For the cost difference, I'm kind of glad those are there.
Any other questions? Nope. Comments? Is there a motion?
I move that City Council award the Gills Landing Trail project to Santiam Canyon Excavation LLC.
Second.
Motion's been made to award it to Santiam Canyon Excavation LLC. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Move on to department reports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a few things tonight. First of all, update on the Airport Road Stoltzville traffic signal. We have plans that are very close. We're reviewing the final plans. We're still trying to determine timing on when to put this project out. When I say timing, whether we put it out right now or whether we wait a little bit into the fall and try and catch the road closure, because at some point Airport Road is going to have to close in order to construct this. And it may be more better. That's not really a word, but
More better.
it may be more better if we waited until after school was out next year. That means that we get started this year. We've got a 9-month lead time on signal poles. Excuse me. So we're still kicking that around, but just know that that's coming out and going out the door here pretty soon. We're trying to figure out the timing on it when we think it might work best. It's going to be a very complex project and with all the traffic. So trying to figure out the best timing, and you'll know when we come up with our game plan, and then we'll probably change it 20 times after that. So,
Please, yeah.
okay. Elmore parking update. I had our staff do a traffic count on Elmore Street between the highway and Wheeler, excuse me, or not Wheeler, but yeah, Wheeler Street. No, Williams.
William?
Yeah, Williams.
Right,
Yeah,
part of that.
highway.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
that's
Williams.
better. Yeah, sorry, I got my streets
It's
confused.
not my award. I don't pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. So we did a tube count before we issued any kind of a notice to residents, and what we found is on average, our highest peak, which was an AM peak of 10 o'clock, was 33 vehicles. And this is combined, both east-west, and a PM of 43 vehicles. That's pretty minor in regard to traffic. So before I sent out notice, I informed folks that we were going to have a discussion and/or a public hearing at the city council to potentially remove parking from the south side. I wanted to get your all's opinion about whether you want me to send that notice. More than happy to do so, but just kind of get a gauge on, just based on that traffic volume there.
Fairly minor traffic volume.
I was just trying to think, is that the real issue though? Is the traffic volume, or is it the people that are around there?
Well, you're eliminating parking on the street. I don't know what's causing people to park on the south side of the street. I don't know if it's overflow from the apartments. I don't know if I don't have a good answer for you on that. So just before we eliminate parking on any residential area, I want to make sure we've got a good justification for what we're doing.
I get it. It sounded like at least the feel was, heard you guys talking that overflow parking is from out of the apartments. And all I'm saying is it seems like what we should concentrate on is it bad for those people to be parking there that close to that apartment complex and that concentration of people more than how many cars are driving up and down it.
Yeah, we look at it from a safety issue, right? So, and one thing, it doesn't meet our standard widths for residential streets for parking on both sides. It's a couple of feet short. And then next, that's not to say that we don't have this situation going on all over town from, older standards, right? So our newer standards are our newer standards. But we would look at how much traffic's traveling down a street before we would, and if there's other issues. I think you brought up the fact, Jeremy, maybe site issues.
Yeah,
when they're
when I
backing
was
out.
there, talking to the neighbors that are on the north side of the street, aside from squeezing traffic through, if you do have cars parked on north and south side of the street and traffic is squeezing through there, it's not very easy for traffic to get through there on the one hand. And then I visualized having my truck in one of those driveways. I wouldn't have been able to back out with the way, if a car was parked on the north side and there was a car parked opposite on the south side, I wouldn't have been able to back out of that driveway. It just made it so tight with my longer truck. I think a little car, you'd be fine. And then there was the RV parking that was taking place, and it just kind of became because I think part of the uniqueness about this location is because there's no neighbors that live on the south side of the street. It's in a street that abuts an apartment complex, and there are some overflow apartment complex residents that do park out there, But because there's no one that kind of has ownership of that spot, it's a very easy spot for, I guess, riffraff to park their broken down RVs. And, you know, it just seems like, of all the, I am also not super excited about eliminating parking that's already there, but I think in this case, being on site, it can be justified.
Okay. So the process basically is what I'll do is I'll have a letter issued, if council's okay with that, a letter issued to everybody that lives around there, including the apartment complex. We'd set it up to where they could hit a public hearing in council in the next couple of months to where people can come give testimony. And then from there, you can decide whether you want to eliminate parking that way. Does that
I
sound
think it's
reasonable?
worth us at least hearing that part, seeing how people feel.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we'll do on that. Next, remind everybody the strategic planning to register with Sarah. She sent out an email and another reminder today. I think Sasha did. And again, that's July 22nd, 2024 at, I think they were going to do a kickoff about 8:45, 9 o'clock. It was when a hard start would be. And it will go until 4. Lunch will be served. I think there'll be refreshments in the morning too. And that is at Boulder Falls at the conference room, which they have offered to let us use. So at no cost. What else do we have? One other thing, for the fee work session, where we're talking about potential for a city services fee. Brandon and I were talking and think that it may be best if we do that at the August meeting. Just because we're going to have a little bit better feel on where this year's ending up. It gives us a little more time to get final numbers in for this year, kind of help guide that discussion a little bit more. I wanted to see what everybody here.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some solid numbers before we move forward.
Okay, so we'll probably set that up for maybe the first meeting. Would anybody be opposed if we started the first, an August meeting at 4:30, or we can do it in the second meeting in August? What's your preference?
Either way for
Either
me.
one's for mine, fine for
Okay.
me.
So if we,
Kelly has thoughts.
Have a work session.
well, looks like it's the second one.
By default.
Okay, so we will do a second meeting in August. The date?
28th.
28th, okay.
Is that what it is?
And last, kind of a quick update on some of our legislative stuff that we've been working on. It's here in the manager's report as well. Just kind of wanted to bring some highlight to it. On the 29th of May, myself, the mayor, Kelly, and our consultant, Sean Tate, went to meet with Senator or Representative Jamie Kate. Had a good discussion with her about needs in Lebanon and how to best move forward some of those needs with state funding. So that was a good discussion. And then also that week, Congressman Chavez DeRemer's office visited us at the wastewater plant and took a tour of our wastewater plant. And this came from, I don't know, several months ago, Kelly had responded to one of their emails in regards to funding for capital projects. And we submitted, and of course we didn't get it, but they said, hey, there's always next year, but we would like to tour your plant. So we took them up on it, brought them out. They had a good tour. In the process, we started talking about solar. So we're moving forward on that front and in many different ways. So you have anything to add to that, Mayor? Or?
No, I was just going to say that on this front, we're taking a more aggressive position and going out and seeking any avenues we can to get funding for some of our infrastructure projects coming up. I think it's important for the city of Lebanon to have these relationships built and maintain them and have good relationships with, and I'll just say it, both parties, and because that's what it takes to bring value back to Lebanon and make Lebanon a successful place. I'm very encouraged right now with the meetings that we've had and the with not only the representatives, but also Sean Tate. We're able to bounce, he has a lot of experience at that level in Salem there. So we're able to bounce off a lot of ideas and get some new knowledge, so we can move forward with some of this stuff. I think I really, truly in my heart believe it's the right thing for Lebanon to do at this point. We're a growing city, and we need to seek out every asset we can to make sure that we provide a livable community that is sustainable and has the infrastructure needed for the growth that will happen in the future, and just to sustain the services that we provide the citizens of Lebanon. So with that, turn it back to Ron.
Yeah, and also, I guess, one more thing to add to that is maybe having a voice at the table for policy making that affects cities. So he's going to keep an ear to the ground for us on policies that we think will impact us. And
Does that involve the drawdowns?
yeah, it could. It could involve anything that relates to local governments, from, police department to public works to whatever that may be. But just being able to have a voice at the table and testify before these committees so that we can at least make them aware of what our issues are or what we think about a bill that they're getting ready to pass. So he's going to help us walk through some of that stuff. So I think that's a good
Yeah, I
place for
think
us
it's
to be.
great. If we can help squeak the wheel a little, I think that's necessary at this day and age.
Absolutely. That's all I have, unless there's questions on anything else in here.
No questions. We'll move on. Is there any items from council like to be talked about?
Maybe just quickly, kudos to everybody that was involved with the Strawberry Festival. It's our first meeting since that happened. It was really well run. I saw a lot of officers there. Like every time I turned a corner, I felt like it was well patrolled and well staffed. And I think it was just a great event. So just thought I'd add that in.
Any other items? Is there any public or press comments? Please come forward.
Hi, I just wondered if there was any thought given to a bottle drop here in Lebanon.
We,
Get her name.
yeah, what, your name, ma'am?
Connie
Connie?
Strobeth.
Okay. And you're, do you know what ward you're in?
I'm sorry,
What ward you're in?
I don't. I live on Cascade Drive, kind of across from KFC.
Okay. The reason I asked that, so the counselors know kind of, the bottle drop has been brought up. Do you have anything on that you can comment?
We've looked at it in the past, but really it's a business, and trying to get that business here. I don't know that we've actively engaged that business, have we?
We have previously reached out in the past. Told no in the past. But that was very recently. Hasn't been.
Also, there's been comment raised that there's going to be a roundabout put on Cascade Drive and Wildwood. Is there any validity to that?
Sure. So we went through an exercise here over the last 6 to 8 months to look at that intersection. And the best solution for that is a roundabout at some point in the future. There is no plan per se today to put a roundabout in there. What we were doing was getting our transportation system plan updated so that from there we can move on and update our system development charges plan so that if we can capture grants at some point in the future and put a roundabout in there, then we would likely do that. Yes. But there's nothing in the works per se from a construction standpoint. This was just the planning process for
Just,
that.
she did say Cascade and Crowfoot. just
Oh,
so
I'm
we're
sorry.
clear.
Did you say Cascade and Crowfoot or Cascade
Oh,
and Weldwood?
Cascade and Wellwood.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
okay.
Yes. So that is the one that we just finished.
And will there be any direct detriment to any of the businesses there? Or
No,
will the
what
roundabout
we
actually fit in the space that's there?
yes, for the most part, there's a little bit of right-of-way purchase needed, but very minimal. Yeah, it should not impact the businesses.
And will there be public comment accepted as it moves forward?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Okay. Thank you so much. We'll move on. Next scheduled council meetings, July 10th, 2024, regular meeting, and then July 22, 2024, strategic planning session.